Classified. Welcome to Social Calibration, the channel dedicated to unveiling the invisible war. I go by GW, but first things first, like, comment, share, and subscribe so you can be socially calibrated.
Your particular assignment is G14 classified.
Today's content is about Colonel Michael Aquino. He specialized in psychological warfare. He founded the Temple of Set in 1975. In 1969, Michael Aquino joined Anton LaVey's Church of Satan and rose rapidly through the ranks. He actually attained the level of Magister Templi. After his rise through the ranks, he became Anton LaVey's right-hand man. But after some time with being with the group, he got disenfranchised with it and basically thought it was a goat rodeo, so to speak. He said it was just more of a social gathering rather than really partaking in the nefarious things that he wanted to. So it was just basically a big sex orgy going on. And he was like, I want to get into the real stuff where we're actually sacrificing people and doing things of that nature. The thing that blows my mind about Colonel Michael Aquino is that this guy is an expert in psychological warfare. So you can only imagine the manipulation that occurred. I mean, this guy right here, for 40 years straight, was doing psychological warfare. Basically, not killing the enemies, but basically using high frequency waves to get into their head and make them just want to stop.
He wasn't killing the enemies. He was using high frequency waves to do what now?
He was using the high frequency waves basically to get into the enemy's head, like the technology called the voice of God, which actually affects the inner ear, and you can actually hear voices in your head that can make you do anything, make you think you're crazy, similar like schizophrenia or something of that magnitude.
So there's technology.
There's technology.
And it's called the voice of God that can put voices in your head.
Yes, exactly.
And what did Michael Aquino have to do with this?
Michael Aquino had to dealt with this specifically because he was dealing with psychological warfare. So since he's dealing with psychological warfare, it was basically getting into the mind of your enemy. And so what would be more perfect for someone that wants to run an occult than to be able to get into the mind of the people? Wow. Which is scary in itself, just because this dude's a genius. I mean, if you really, really look at his interviews, you can see that he's clearly evil, really evil. I mean, how could you get eyebrows that look like this? I mean, how do you do that? But to make a long story short, or to actually get to the meat and potatoes of the subject, this guy was actually from Presidio, air base stationed out of San Francisco, which actually had a preschool there. And the kids were, one kid in particular, I don't want to say his name, just to, be on the safe side, told his parents that he was getting molested. The parents were upset, went back, talked to the base, told them everything. It took the base 1 full week to actually get a plan together to even take action. A whole month for them to even make everybody aware of what was occurring on the base, and then a whole year for them to even get the investigation going. Somebody didn't care. And it's a shame that this occurred in our military, but just like any other religion, they have to give you the opportunity to practice your religion, of course, because this is America. You're free to practice what you want, even if it's frowned upon. Not frowning upon anybody's religion, of course.
When you talk about they have to let you practice whatever your religion is, we had another guy that I worked with, and he was a Satanist.
Wow.
And everybody knew it, and he was proud of it, and he knew his regulations.
Wow.
He always told the line. He knew what he could do and he knew what he couldn't do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that right there says it all. I mean, if you really look at that in itself, and then with the situation that you're talking about that you experienced, looking at that,
yeah,
and as long as it took for them to even rectify this situation with it being on a military base, knowing that these kids were actually being taken off base to off post, basically to other locations where I guess that they were doing their rituals, like sex magic with children, which is absolutely sick, and getting away with it. There's nobody there to even look into it, and they're dragging this along. That gives you ample time to clear yourself of any type of evidence. Nobody's gonna be coming after you if it takes a week for you to even get a plan of action together to see what's going on with the kids. Then on top of that, after the plan of action is made, it takes a month for you to actually tell the parents. A month. So this was known for 1 month, and the parents did. I would have been livid.
Yeah.
I would have been livid. So this guy, Michael Aquino, was not only, well, I can't say that he was directly involved because I wasn't there, of course. But looking at the documentation, the kids that were involved, not only did it occur in Presidio, but it also occurred on other bases. The military launched this investigation. It took forever. They actually wanted to get the investigation over with. They really didn't even want to have anything to do with it, which is like...
What do you mean?
Yeah, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. They didn't want to look bad. Because they're like, these are what these people are doing. We don't need this type of
press, exposure.
Exactly. So when you're getting that bad press, and people are gonna, then that's something that we take near and dear. Our children.
Right.
You're messing with the children. Then on top of messing with the children, you're taking forever, like you don't care, and then you don't want it to fall back on you because then everybody's gonna be like, hey, what's going on? Look into this. So come to find out, they get the kids together. Some of the kids actually see press conferences with Michael Aquino in them, and they point him out. So these are between roughly 3 and 7 year olds that see this guy and are like, that's the guy that was involved. He's one of the people that were there. So he was even pointed out by the children involved, which makes it even crazier because every base where the children were involved, they pointed him out, which is like guilt in itself. But one of the things that actually got them off of this whole case was the fact that and this is beyond me, the fact that it was children's allegations. It was allegations made by children that were too young. But they to even really, so the prosecutor was looking at this and the judge just dismissed it. Dismissed it all, bro.
Wow.
Knowing damn well that,
when was this? What year is this?
This was early 80s. The early 80s when this was all found out. One of the children told his parents that there was some inappropriate behavior occurring. We won't go into any details, but he went and told his parents that they were doing things to him. The parents were checked him out. He went to bed. They actually looked at him and actually saw that someone had been inappropriately messing with him or touching him. And so after that, they went and told, and then that's when it took a week for them to even get, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do for 1 week? All right, we figured out a plan. Now, what are we gonna go from here? Then a month later, they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna, by the way, they're having occult rituals and they're taking your children off post and to these other places and then bringing them back before you come and pick them up, which is like, I cannot believe, there's no way that there can be just one person involved in this. There's no way. This has to be.
And we're talking about all of these bases, but the thing that links Michael Aquino to all of these fucking things is him being pointed out.
Pointed out by the children. Mm-hmm.
And he's very easy. I mean, it's... Yeah.
The eyebrows.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy right there, I mean, that's like the focal point of what you don't want to run into in the dark alley. Really?
Yeah, That's hilarious.
A full-grown Eddie Monster. It looks like a full-grown Eddie Monster on some craziness. Yeah, yes. Yeah. And the guy gets off. So the reason it correlates with
might be Grandpa Monster.
Now great Grandpa Monster.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And the guy's still out there. He's still out there.
What does he do now? What is Michael Aquino doing now? Holy shit, we might need to.
Yeah. If you guys would like to know what he's doing now, comment, and I'll definitely look into it, and we'll have another video going into what he's doing now. If I were him, I'd be hiding in a hole because I'm surprised the angry villagers haven't came and got him yet.
That's hilarious.
No, it's crazy though. These people commit these nefarious acts on military bases, and this coincides with the actual Jack Parsons, because if you look at it all together, I'm starting to see this pattern where we have people that are of high intelligence, absolutely remarkable jobs. Like, okay, you're you're an expert at psychological warfare.
A fucking expert.
An expert at manipulating people's minds. I'm sorry, it blows my mind. Not only can they hurt you physically, but mentally. They can get into your head. And this goes back to the invisible war, unveiling it. It goes back to that because it's affecting our children. Then a person that commits such a heinous crime gets off scot-free, still able to walk the streets, and nobody knows. It's like, you can't make this up. You really can't make it up. An expert in psychological warfare, and also Jack Parsons, rocket engineer. These people aren't stupid. These people above average intelligence. We're talking about what, a 120 plus intelligence. So you're not just dealing with some backwood moron that's just got they walk around and have sex parties in the woods and let it hang all out. You know, these people are serious, because even Michael Aquino before left the Church of Satan because it was actually becoming too much of a like a party atmosphere, like a hangout, like, oh yeah, you know, the hell Satan, all that kind of crap. And then it was just becoming stars and people in places of affluence coming and paying to get in. So it wasn't an earn, like Michael Aquino worked his way up through the ranks, and he felt some kind of a way. He was like, I worked my way up to get to this point, and you got these people coming in here who are stars and paying their way in, and then you're making this willy-nilly now to where anybody can get in. They're not really, they're straying away from the plan.
Well, him opening the portal, well, that was along the lines of the plan, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
But as far as the stars being able to pay and get in, I can understand somebody feeling some type of way, especially if you have earned your way into.
Worked up, you sacrificed cats, rats, and all sorts of animals to get to where you get, and then you have this guy just coming from Hollywood. It's like, bam, I'm in, and I'm a priest. Like, wow, you did not earn your keep. So that made him leave and actually start up the Temple of Set, his own faction. So he started off his own thing. The nefariousness of that, of course, we already know. Like Jack Parsons, he's like, I'm not here to have orgies in the forest naked. I'm trying to sacrifice something. I'm trying to be on the real stuff. Like, this is for show over here. I want to get down to it. And so that's why he straight away was disenfranchised and started his own set.
So Anton LaVey started
the Church of Satan.
Okay. Colonel
Michael Aquino
was a member of the Church of Satan. Was a member of that. Felt like, okay, this is getting too commercialized. Exactly. You guys are full of shit. You're not really Satanist like to what we're supposed to be doing. You're straying from the plan. Yes. So now he starts his own. You know how you have like Christians, and then you have Jehovah's Witness.
Exactly.
So they're different so he started basically another denomination of Satanism.
Yes.
which was called
the Temple of Set.
Wow.
Yes. So he said, now my group, we're for real. We about to kill some stuff. And we're really going to do something. And if these people over here are all into this and go hang out and whatnot, nah, I'm trying to invoke some spells, summon a demon. He wasn't playing. He was like, I'm making this. And it's funny because like Jack Parsons made the Babylon working ritual a science. This guy was like, I want to make it a science. And it seems like with the pattern of these smart individuals going into this and making the spells more powerful, more potent, and getting drastic results.
Right.
Because he already knew. He was like, well, I'm not going to be here dancing around with y'all. Y'all ain't doing nothing. So, I mean, that in itself, there's this invisible war occurring. How many people know about this? Write on the comments. I really want to know about this. Has anybody ever heard of Michael Aquino? Put it in the comments if you've heard any stories or anything that you can add. But this story blew my mind, and the invisible war. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Things that you would never know. You go and you drop your child off. You think it's the safest place. He's good. You know, you come home, pick him up, and then you figure out this is going on. And then not only that, this is just an incident that's in one area. This is nationwide that this is occurring, and they just have free reign over your children. So with that being said, always know where who's with your children. But also, I wanted to add too that Michael Aquino also had done a interview with Oprah Winfrey where he was talking to a guest that had been involved in, they say that they were involved in a sacrifice where they actually witnessed it, and the individual was killed, and he was telling the story to Oprah and Michael Aquino. So Michael Aquino responds by to the gentleman telling his testimony by saying, well, who's your grotto leader? And the gentleman replies, I don't remember his name. So Michael Aquino, being an expert in psychological warfare, asked the guy, so you don't know the name of the person that made you commit murder? And I'm just like, wow, are you serious? You actually, that in itself is psychological warfare. What he just did right there, he just basically said, you're a liar. Just called him out, hey. And with everything going on now, allegedly with Oprah Winfrey, I'm not saying that, this is just whispers. I'm not here to embellish on, the details of that until some, more info comes out. But it's interesting that she did an interview with Michael Aquino, and now with everything that's occurring, and then it was almost like, and this is just me, this is my opinion, it was almost like she kind of knew what was going on and knew that this what occurred and what was involved, but just kind of inquiring on it. But this guy just totally defecated on this dude in the audience, and the guy in the audience was like, hey bro, if I go and tell on these people, you already know what time it is. So you really think that I'm gonna tell you who the grotto leader is? Negative. That's a no-go. And I can tell you who's involved, but I'm trying to live. For real.
And then Michael Aquino
was like, if you didn't, Michael Aquino also.
So you don't think they already know?
He goes, you don't think that you don't think that they're already here and know that you're here? And Oprah responds by saying, how do they know? Do they feel it or they're watching? And everybody starts to giggle and laugh, and it's like, even at that point, I thought that there was something more going on. It just didn't seem like it was just a basic
more than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye, and this goes with that with the whole entire social calibration focal point. You never know who your neighbor is. You never know what they do. You don't know what they do in their house. You're not always around particular individuals, and from what I've heard, so many people are involved in this. The highest echelons of the government to the lowest foot soldiers. So I can only imagine when people are victims of this, why they don't want to go say anything, because their life is in danger, first of all. So you go and you try to go and tell the police, and the police are like, yeah, okay, come on, hop in the back and we'll go take that we'll go get
We're gonna take a ride.
We'll go take this ride real quick and we'll get a little bit more information, and before you know it, gone.
Fucking milk carton.
Yeah, milk. No, your picture's up in Walmart. One of 75 individuals.
Oh my God.
Yes. And you never know who's involved in what. It's extremely unnerving, because the people involved in this are just, if you look at them, I mean, aside from Michael Aquino, who looks like what you would think a Satanist would look like. and you know, not to stray from the subject at hand, but how do you get your eyebrows to look like that? I just don't. I that in itself just says, are you trying to make yourself look more like the devil by having that horned look? Because that right there is just would make me just like, hey, this dude here is.
I think that's what it is, bro.
And I can just imagine the dude probably came around to these preschools and was just like creeping in, and just like, if I was a kid and I see Michael Aquino, you know what I would, you know how kids like to stare. So seeing someone like that, it's like, what's wrong with this guy? Something ain't right about him. And you could already see. But also, to add with that, if you're not familiar, Michael Aquino also dealt with MK Ultra. If you're not familiar with what MK Ultra is, it's basically mind control. Anyone would like more information on MK Ultra, write in the comments section. Another show, we'll go into that into depth. But the scary part, like I said, is that these people actually can get into your mind. Not only do they know psychological warfare and are really familiar with this, they can actually do this to the victims of this. They can actually get into their mind, make them think that nothing happened, or even tell a different story. But the fact that this guy got off is, it just kind of, and if you look at it today with officials that are in the government and these crazy crimes they're committing, the adrenochrome, and of course, y'all heard of the adrenochrome, the drug that's supposed to be like one of the favorites of Hollywood. And we'll definitely go into that subject later, but just to give you like a brief synopsis on it, it's blood that is adrenaline charged blood, basically, and they get high off of that, and they're basically saying that it's coming from children, and that's where they're getting their supply from. And I even also heard that it's been produced in Wuhan. Isn't that ironic? The fact that adrenochrome is produced in Wuhan, the same place where the coronavirus came from. And then all the stars are getting it. We know that they partake in it. I mean, it's no mystery. Now it's no mystery. I mean, it's starting to just be common knowledge that these people are practicing in these ritualistic rituals, first of all, and then taking adrenochrome. So I guess when you do adrenochrome, you really don't want to do anything else, because it's like, they say adrenochrome is supposed to have like an LSD type, hallucinogenic, feel-good properties. Basically,
it's supposed to make you.
It's stronger than ecstasy. They say it gives you like a high that's like no other. So, and it's expensive. I believe it's like 25 milligrams. It's like $380.
Is it supposed to be like a youth serum?
It's actually it's supposed to have like some youth properties that actually make you youthful. I'd actually heard a study where they had taken old mice and they were on their last leg, and they took baby mice. They actually took blood from the baby mice, put it in the old mice, and they actually regenerated. They they were more active. They were younger. They were way more active. So it's actually real. It's been studied. So I mean, humans just figured it out, and who knows how long they've been doing it. They've probably been doing it for centuries. I mean, this isn't something new. We've known this has been occurring. It's a taboo subject now. Now it's not as much because so many people are involved in it, and people that you never think who are involved in it. And Hollywood, now we're seeing in the military, and this is not the whole military. This is just select individuals.
Straight up.
The crazy thing is, could you imagine just walking up and just taking a stroll through the woods and just walking up on a big group of people sacrificing somebody, like, and they see you and you see them, and you just like, you can't just be, all right, I'll see y'all around busy over here. They're like, get him.
And that happened.
Oh man, you know how many people have probably stumbled upon something that they weren't supposed to see and were never seen again. You walked up into the wrong party, and they were like, there's no invitation, nothing. You have to be dealt with, which is even more it's just unscrupulous to me, because it's like, how many people have I ran to in my life that I didn't even know were involved in some crap like this? But I just wanted to give y'all my feedback on this Michael Aquino and this pattern that I'm seeing with them having high IQ levels, absolutely remarkable jobs. There's no way that they can be making less than 150 a year. There's no way. Psychological warfare, come on. 40 years.
Get all the perks from being in the military.
All the perks.
Then being high up, high ranking officer.
But get away with murder, pretty much. You can basically get away with murder.
They
have gotten away with murder. Which is crazy, because these are officials that people trust, and they're like, hey, this guy right here is an all solid guy. Until you see what's in his in those files in his computer, knowing what he's really been doing last summer. What percentage of society do you think knows about this, or is aware that this is occurring? Because you already know, if this was well known, we'd be like the angry villagers, ready to storm the gates. Really? I mean, apparently nobody really knows about this. I mean, it's like whispers in the wind, and nobody is, because we'd all take action when it comes to our children or even our families. We're not having none of that. So they have to do this in the shadows, basically. And I just wanted to really emphasize on being right with God and having a strong faith, because this right here, you're dealing with not only demonic entities, wicked human beings that are pretty much, might as well be like demonic. When you have an IQ level of over 120 or 130. Interdimensional beings, understanding, self-taught rocket engineer. That's all you gotta tell me right there. That's like a savant right there. Like, this guy right here that's one of a kinder. Or 40-year psychological warfare. 40 years of psychological warfare. Could you imagine what this guy knows?
Can you imagine having a conversation with that motherfucker?
He's probably one of the most manipulative people that you've ever talked to in your life. Like, one of the people that you just know is like, okay, he's manipulating me right now. I'm being manipulated. I don't know how, but I know you're manipulating me. I know your job. I know what your job entails. You're not just the average. You're not the average guy. Come on, man. I mean, it blows my mind, and just seeing all of this. But I wanted to wrap this up. Next week's subject will be Anton Xander LaVey, and we'll go into depth of how he started the Church of Satan, who was all involved. And this is going to be a really interesting story, because we have a lot of Hollywood people that were involved in this. Well, I just want to thank you for y'all's time. And remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be socially calibrated. Thank you.
Your particular assignment is G14 classified.